Okay, so I have one of my really good friends, Sarunas J Jackson, here on my first episode of my podcast. So, welcome to In the Mix with Gabrielle Elyse, and my buddy is from NBA 2K, Insecure, and now he is a lead in BET's Games People Play. Pew, pew, pew. So, along with your celebrity status, do you want to give me your ethnic status?
Oh yeah, wow. I am what you I Afro Latino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Black Latino. Also have German, Native American in me.
Okay.
As far as my black side, that's like a mixture of a lot of things, right?
Okay. Which
So,
is what?
culturally, I guess, Panamanian, that's my Latino, right? Jamaican, but we are descendants. So my Black American side comes from, I believe, Nigeria. Yeah, Nigeria.
Okay.
And then on my mother's side, right, in Panama, they came, and the slave trade came from Angola, I believe. Yeah, yeah, Angola.
Do you do the 23andMe thing?
I did do 23andMe.
See, I'm scared to do it because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm equally as mixed as you, but
Right.
I feel like there's so many regions that I might break the machine or like it's not gonna give you accurate results.
Honestly, I thought I'd be more mixed than what I was, just
Really?
because both my parents are mixed, right? So both my parents
Yeah.
are black and something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was like, we'll see where this goes. And like even the white, okay, I said German, like the European in me. It's not even from Germany. I had like 5% German in me, but it's originally from Scotland, Scottish, which
No
makes sense
way.
because my last name is Jackson, and that's
Yeah.
a Scottish last name.
Right.
But I was just like, that's a slave name, so I don't know. I just was like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know where to
Oh, I
dig
feel
that.
more bonded to you now
But-
because my mom is Scottish, so.
Oh, okay. That's where her okay.
That's where her white
Her
is
white
from.
side
White
is
from, yeah.
her white side. But also, it's so weird to think about. Like I just think about this, like um, when people are like, "Oh, I'm 5% German," I'm like, how can you be 5% of a country? Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
So okay, here's what I'm saying. Like to me, you're just gonna be you're white, black, Native American, are really your three. Asian,
Yeah.
um, and like Middle Eastern, right? Those are gonna be your main actual ethnicities, right?
Okay.
Like Hispanic, Latino, that's not a race
Right.
because all those countries were colonized
Okay.
either from Europe,
Mhm.
like British folk went and colonized Jamaica.
Right.
If you listen to Jamaican's accent and a British person's accent, there's actually certain words that sound
Yeah.
similar
Right.
because
Right.
they were colonized, right? For instance, like I said, there's a bunch of black people in Panama. How the fuck you think we got there? We from Africa. They black, right?
Right.
So it's ridiculous to be like, oh, I'm not black. I'm Dominican. I'm not black. I'm Panamanian. That's stupid to say because you are black. Your nationality is this.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how would I be 5% American, 5% of United States, like or North American?
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. It's just like, so when they break it down to me, they should just be like, originally, where as far back as they could trace, where did the white side of me stem from, and then where did it start breaking off to? Just give me the story of that. Don't give me like a percent of. I can't be 5% German. I was not born there. My grandmother was born in Germany,
Okay.
so that's like but preceding her, before her, wherever they were is where they were. I'm just like, I just don't understand being 5% of a country that I've never been to.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
it makes
me,
you feel distant from it.
it just kind of like, for me, I'm European descent, African descent, and Native American. Those are my main. For me, if you look at my 23andMe, those are the three things only:
mains.
black, white, Native American, and that's it.
Right.
Nothing else.
But
I thought
you-
I'd have something
But
else.
you
like,
identify yourself as Afro-Latino?
uh,
Afro-Latino?
a mixed black man, yes.
'Kay.
But I do say I like Afro Latino, like
Right.
because that's a part of that. But I do identify as
Because
Afro
I see
Latino.
some of your Twitter conversations and things and some of the harsh backlash that you've gotten
Yeah.
when you played Dro on Insecure.
Yeah.
Um, And because you are a light-skinned individual, and I'm a light-skinned individual, like I feel like a stereotype got put upon you because you were feminine-looking or gay or things like that. So I found that super interesting that like because I never thought mixed men would get stereotyped or like you know things. I never thought that would happen for some reason.
Oh man, like I would say with I'll first start with in the black community, as far as stigmas like of being light skinned. Yeah, I mean that's one of the top things light skinned men would hear is like he just seemed feminine or he get, and mind you, like if whatever that means, I'm actually a very masculine man. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't. I'm very alpha. I played sports most of my life. If we're going off stigmas, right? I played football. I was a boxer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've these streets fight. I've knocked many niggas out. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like so when they say feminine and I see the people saying, I'm like I could most likely beat your ass. So I don't understand where this comes from, but it's because like you know.
Is that why you sing the Drake lyric real hard when you're like?
Well, light skin, but I'm still a dog, nigga. Yeah, shout out to Champagne Poppy for making my dreams come true with that bar.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that stigma that's weird to me, and then for women just being mainly, I mean and men too, but usually mixed or light skinned women, black women in general, as far as worldwide, are over sexualized.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There's such a fetish with black women and men.
Yeah.
Mixed or not, light skin or dark skin or brown skin, fetishized and over sexualized. Yeah, and then within our own community, because of some of the abuse that's been placed on us previous generations, the glorifying of lighter skinned folks or mixed skinned folks and quote unquote good hair, which I hate that fucking hate that fucking
I do
term.
too.
I don't like when people say, "Oh, you have good hair." Don't say that.
My cousins used to tell me that I have like, "Oh, you have good hair."
Yeah.
And blah blah blah. And then my aunt and I look very similar, meaning similar complexion, similar facial features.
Yeah.
And you know, I know that people can't see me right now, but I have like the typical almond shaped Asian eyes and things like that. So, and she and I have similar hair texture. So she'll even joke about it, be like, "Oh, I got the good hair," and I was like, "What?"
Sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Latino side, they'd be like, you know. Some Latinos be like, "Oh, tú eres negro, pero tengo pelo fino." Like, "Oh, you're black, but you have very fine hair." It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's certain things like that. And then, like, it just also depends. Sorry, that's my dog Rookie right there. He got excited. Hey, you're good. It's me. I made the noise. It's me.
Cookie.
So, sorry about that.
Like he wants to talk to.
He wants to get on the podcast. He's mixed as well. He's a golden doodle. He has very curly hair, very long,
like,
shaggy.
I'm on this conversation too.
Yeah.
Don't forget about me.
But yeah. So, but for me, I've noticed like, and depending on the spaces you're in too, I could see how you could be pulled in one way or another. So me, like, yeah, I heard some jokes growing up, but I never was like, I've known people to be bullied for it. This is especially prominent with women, but I've known people to be, as far as like men, like, you know, kind of be bullied or jokes. And I would hear jokes, but it wasn't like, you know, them trying to be harmful or anything. But it was like, for me, I didn't hear much of it or get a negative thing because I was an athlete. So being an athlete, we all just paint each other with one brush in a sense, as far as a black men, right?
Yeah.
So we all, you know, we on the same team. We hang with each other. It's a tribe. You know, you like I'm saying, you might hear some jokes, but like it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like it was never no like real malice behind it. It was just like kind of something like you know, it'd be like, I mean, like this, like shut up, you know, just like that. But as far as like I would see with women, sometimes I've seen like I remember seeing like one girl getting her like being in being in class and sitting and someone cut her hair, yeah, stuff like that. And but you know, the one thing I would say about why it's more prominent with black women is because they've dealt with more abuse in it.
Yeah, I
with
agree.
Complexion and hair texture, and
the
the
American
shame.
beauty
Yeah.
standards
Oh
on
yeah.
us in the community.
And American beauty standards holds more weight with women, right?
Right. Oh,
As
yeah.
far as just beauty standards, period.
Yeah.
With men, it's more about success and wallet. It's about the
Right.
money. It's not about our looks and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but with women, it's always dealt with looks, which sucks. You know what I mean? But I would always see like or and then even in ways. And I had homegirls who didn't feel weird about this, but if you had like certain men saying like, oh yeah, she light skin, she had good hair, she bad, you know what I mean? Like that was the reason why she was bad, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just like that's just ridiculous, but
Right.
it's just an interesting.
Which
time.
is like interesting for me because it's like, I know we talked about this before, but like you grew up in Philly in the IE, and I grew up in like white suburban Texas and things like
Right.
that. So, I will never forget the first acting class that I ever went to. There was a dark skinned girl, and I won't name her in case she wants to. Yeah. Anyway, but and discovering my blackness kind of late in middle school, like
Right.
she was the first person I gravitated towards because I was like, oh, you look like me, like like
Right,
the
right,
community
right.
thing, and she hated me from day one, like
Right.
would talk mad shit to me,
Right.
and like I never forgot, like, because I was very much like an opinionated little one, and I was like, hey, you're picking on me, I don't like it, and
Yeah.
she literally belittled me and stuff like that, and I could never understand why until I got older, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize like the complexion thing was so heavily
Her
rooted,
feeling like you were favored
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say as like. Black people might be. We might be the ones that marry the most outside our race.
I don't
Black
think
men. Black men do.
yeah,
Black women are damn near
Yes,
faithful to
yes.
just usually. They're starting to break out a little bit now, right? You
Yeah.
know, and
I mean,
which,
I can't talk because I'm
can't
dating
understand.
a
Well,
snow bunny right now.
yeah. You
Love
know,
you.
you got your little flavor, you know.
Yeah.
But like, but that comes from like there is such a a thing of it was. So there'd be jokes like success to a black man is like, oh yeah, you got the money or whatever, got the white girl, the cars and stuff like that. That has been in jokes, that has been in movies, that has been like Kanye West song, then he get on and leave your ass for a white girl.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm saying? That's
Right.
like that stuff is said for a reason because that has been used as like we try to validate ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen black men validate with themselves with the car, with a non-black woman and stuff that equals like, that has been a thing.
Yeah.
And it's been sad. I mean, because when you're told so long, like, that's not it. Or even if you're not being told that, but you are being told that, is like you look at the billboards, you look at these commercials, these shampoo commercials, not shampoo for black women that can use on their hair. These
Yeah.
are shampoo commercials. You see a white or a Euro Latino chick,
Right.
like going like this with her hair is like the
Yeah.
shiny brunette or
Yeah,
blonde hair, but you're not seeing 4C hair bouncing or bouncing curls on there all the time.
No.
You're starting to like see some now a little bit because they're starting to realize the power of the black dollar and the black
Yes.
economy
Yes.
and the movement of black people. But for a long time we have been taught that they're the ones, they're
yes,
the
yes,
goal,
yes, yes.
they're
Yeah.
the standard.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And it's crazy because it's not even. I feel like it's not even it's solely like a curse in the black community. It's also heavily rooted in the Asian community. Heavily rooted.
Like
'Cause
bad.
I'm half Asian, and
For
like
sure.
I'm favored in my family because I look the most Asian, and
Right.
I'm the most light-skinned
Light-skinned, yep.
person in
Yep.
the room.
Yep.
And my grandma would straight up tell me that when I was little. And
Oh, wow.
But it's crazy because it's like
Wow.
she's one Asian woman in a room full of black people that she started to like she helped create. Like there's generations.
She started the line of it.
She
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
She did. There's a whole other half of Blasians of us in Virginia right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, why? And
You have so many black seeds, woman.
right. And I'm like, you see what you created, right? That this is
Yeah.
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But
It's like you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't realize it was so heavily rooted in the Asian community too, because
Yeah.
the first time I ever went to an Asian market with my family, there's this bleaching stuff in soap, like body soap.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That happens in Jamaica. It's
Really?
really bad in Jamaica. There's like a whole market of it in Jamaica.
Ugh.
It's really bad. they bleach their skin. They look ridiculous. They
Oh
look
my
bad.
God.
But yeah, Sammy Sosa, he's Dominican, but he's bleached his skin. He looks like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Looks terrible. He looks awful.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's self-hate, and it's so sad that's what's taught. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, man, we gotta like.
I mean, I didn't even start embracing my natural tan and my natural curls till I was like 16.
Mm-hmm.
No, I lied, because I met you when I was 18, and I still
Right,
straightened my hair. So
right.
like 18, and I'm 22 now. Like
Yeah.
that's hella late. I feel
You
like.
know, I mean, we talk about being, in the environment you're in. You talk about growing up in white suburbia. I mean, now, I've dated women that were mixed, right? That were biracial, like black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember dating one woman particularly, or like maybe two or three, but this one I'm thinking about is, I guess you would say culturally favored her white side in a sense, like where she more so knew white pop culture way more than black pop culture. You know what I'm saying? Way more. Like she wouldn't get the references I did and stuff. And after a while, that did get frustrating. 'Cause I'm like, man, you are also, you know what I mean? Like I know all the white pop culture you're talking about, but you don't know nothing about the black. Like what's up? Like, you're mixed. But I remember having this real conversation with her because we got into about something, and I was like, whether you've ever been told this or faces, like I'm gonna keep it real with anybody I care for, and I'm like, you grow up in white suburbia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're different, quote unquote, because you're the mixed girl, you're mixed with black, so now you're different. Your hair is curlier and thicker. You might be shaped, have more of a shape to your curvier. Your features might be Afrocentric. Who knows? It depends on the mixture, or it depends on how you come out. So therefore, you saw all the little white boys you had a crush on have crush on all these little white girls. You weren't being the one crushed on. You weren't liked for being different. They didn't like you for your blackness. Mm-hmm. So you, in turn, you didn't like yourself for blackness. You were insecure about that. Yeah. Until you get out into the world and you start meeting these black people, and they're like, yo, like, and you're like lost, like, oh, why am I getting so much attention now? You know what I mean? It's just like, and then I'm like, yo, so I told her, I'm like, so it's not your fault, but then you did let these other white individuals dictate your security about your blackness. Yeah. And so that's why every line to Breakfast Club, but you never seen Friday. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like even white people seen Friday, and I'm just like, duh, like, it's just like, and it could be preferences, and that's fine. When people say that, like, oh, it's preference, I'm like, you could dig deeper. It's not just about preference sometimes. You could dig deeper and see where that stems from. And where her it stemmed from there. And it was sad to see, because I'm like, like her father was white and her mother was black. Yeah. It wasn't like, how usually it's the other way around. So, and it was crazy because her mom listened to Diana Ross and Aretha Franklin and was such like,
so weird.
Yeah. So like, I was just like, wow. It was just crazy that she was a little insecure about it. And I mean, she grew into herself more and more as she got older, but for a while just wasn't, it just didn't click with her, and she just didn't, and she didn't want it to click though. And then I think she started feeling insecure about the lack of knowledge she had about the black culture as she got around other black women and in college.
Honestly, I feel that though.
Yeah. So then in turn, but instead of it being a negative, a lot of times it's like motivation to like now she was tapping in more and learning more and doing that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, cause I mean, you're talking about so many years of a habit. Mm-hmm. It's hard to break that just in one day, 1 year, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's interesting to see that, but I mean, like with me and her, it was just like, that's not gonna work out. Right. I'm way too much on the other side, and you're way too on that side. And I'm just like,
And I always found that hard because it's like, growing up, my mom and my dad were very upfront with me, and even I had a crush on this little white boy for years. Right. And like the one time where I got my shot and he like asked me out, like my parents didn't want me to date till I was 16, so I had to ask permission. And I asked permission, and my mom was the one who told me, and my mom's Asian and white, told me like his parents will not approve of it because you're black. And it blew my mind, and I was like, "What? What do you mean?"
Right, because you're innocent. You're thinking like you're a good human being and do nothing wrong. Why would my race matter? Yeah. Right,
exactly. And this was shortly after I got called the N-word for the first time.
Oh, wow. But, yeah. How old were you? 15 when you got called for the first time?
No, I was in third grade. So I lasted a while before. I'm one of the lucky ones, I guess.
Third grade, you got called the first?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a little...
How old is that? That's 9, 8?
8 or 9, I think.
Damn, I think that's around the time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, continue now. I'll go into
Yeah,
that. Go ahead.
And so
Did you meet his parents?
his mom actually taught me. She was my 3rd grade teacher.
She's your 3rd grade teacher.
Yeah. But like I'm young, I didn't even see any of the stereotypes that were happening.
Of course.
But I went to like a Christian private school before, and like I was the one raising in the oatmeal. That's what that was me. And I didn't realize. I didn't like.
Of course not. Yeah.
No, but going back to my point is like I got very lucky in seeing my parents the way that they are, that it mattered. The Martin Luther King mattered what the character was, not what the skin color
exactly.
was.
The merit of the character. Yep.
So I in that sense, I never was like I gravitate towards white boys because I hate myself.
Right.
But I will say I've had equal opportunity for Latin.
All men.
I'm like Latinas, Latino. It's Latino.
Latino for men. Latino.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Latino, and then for black, and then for white. So. Yeah, but I couldn't imagine, because I've also heard from other mixed girls too that I'm friends with that they favored more of the white boys because of the way they grew up around.
Yeah.
And like I'm just like I couldn't imagine having that not that self-hate, but that void there.
Right.
Oy.
Yeah, for me, that I think. So
like did you ever explore dating, like, oh, I'm gonna date a
I've dated
Latina?
all types of women.
Oh.
All types
so
of women.
you're culturally
well-versed.
renowned.
Yeah, well versed. I'm well versed. Yeah. I'm experienced here. You know what I mean? I moved around a lot. I've also traveled the world. I've also been all over the US. You know what I mean? So it's just that type of thing. But
yeah. And honestly, like I appreciate that. Like as a mixed woman, you being culturally renowned and like traveling and stuff, because the person that I'm with now was in the military and had to travel.
Of course,
so
yeah.
he's very smart, and he never looked at me and like, ooh, like he never fetishized me.
Of course, yeah. That's always an interesting
thing. And the boy grew up in the South, and like,
Florida,
ironically, he was a minority in his friends. It was a bunch of Latino people around him, black people around him, and I'm like, oh, you are the dot this time.
So he was that guy. He gravitated towards them more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
Yeah. But
he loves like hip hop and R&B and stuff like that. Yeah, I have friends like that where they didn't put on anything. They don't have no black scent. No. They talk. That's what we call it, black scent. Because don't get me wrong. I had a homeboy. Actually, this dude's interesting. I remember I had a homeboy in middle school, and he talked with a black scent. And he was from the Bay, right, Bay Area. Now, fast forward later on in life, because I haven't seen him since freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Very much a Republican, lives in Arizona, and
does he have one still?
I believe not. I haven't spoke to him on the phone, but I see that I see him get in heated debates or have comments on certain things on Twitter, and a lot of time it would be opposite of what we would believe in. And I'm just like, wow, it's so interesting to see him like that now, because he wanted to be one of us so bad. So I'm like, dog. I'm like, and then this is what I said, and I remember telling him, and he got mad at me. I'm like, let me tell you what white privilege is. I said, you had the privilege of acting like us, sagging your pants, wearing Iversons, wearing an Allen Iverson jersey, talking like one of us, dancing like one of us.
Yeah.
When we get in these, like, where I went to middle school was like a lot of racial tension, so it'd be like whites versus blacks and like Mexicans and stuff. That's how it just was. So when we was fighting, with the white boys and stuff like that, he was with us fighting them. And they didn't like him because he loved being with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So because of that, they would call him Wigger and all that stuff and everything. So, and then 50 Cent song Wanksta was out. So they was like, that's his anthem. And that shit was hilarious. But like him being that guy, but now you get to, like, we don't get to hide that, right?
Right,
That's
exactly.
our culture.
Right.
You're putting it on as a costume, and now later on in life, you could switch and be like, no, black people, why are you complaining about this? You're wrong. There's no such thing as white privilege, and this is that. I'm a Republican, this and that. I'm like, you had the privilege of doing that growing up and experimenting that, and then leaving that and going into this other side of, like, that's not, we don't have the luxury of just culturally or hiding our culture. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's what white privilege is. And
yeah.
he got like real mad and stuff. I'm like, you get mad at the truth, bro, but this is just what it is,
Right.
And I'm not the type of guy that like necessarily like I'm not. I guess I'm political. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I always like when people are like, oh, like what's
You
your
listen to both sides.
like what's your party? I'm like, I'm pro-black. That's mine, because I just don't trust Democrats or Republicans. I'm just not gonna trust a bunch of white men in suits telling me what's good for our people or what he's gonna do for our people and not come through with it.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and people even argue, you know, that maybe Obama could have done a little bit more. Some people have argued that. So it's not
Right.
even about the skin color of the president. It's just about who's gonna do right for everybody.
Right.
Not just, you know, the 1%, not just for small business owners, like
Yeah.
just everybody, you know,
Right.
or and especially people of color. Because every other group had reparations, you know. Jewish folks went through Holocaust, they've had reparations, though.
Right.
Japanese folks went through, you know, in
Oh, I know what it's
around
called.
Pearl Harbor,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, they've had reparations.
Right.
Black people have had zero reparations
Right. Yeah.
for what black people have gone through. So, and people could look this up, you know what I'm saying? You can look this up. I'm not lying here. I'm not making things up. But like, so you know, for me, I've come off though. Now I'm 6'8", almost 6'9". I have Afrocentric features on my face. My skin complexion is like lighter, obviously, from some of my, you know, black family members or friends. My hair is not as coarse or thick, you know what I mean? So there's like a weird thing where it's been hit and miss. Like sometimes I'm viewed a certain way, but then sometimes, like as far as police, they never given me no type of privilege. I've had insane run-ins with police. I've had insane run-ins with police. I've never had no privilege over being lighter skinned, but also at the end of the day, if I was 5'11", 5'10", maybe, I don't know, maybe, but maybe I'm a bigger target, and they definitely know. And even before, like, I remember I've had this conversation with my mom, being like, you know, well, like, you act a certain way, or this, and that, you know, talking about, like, I just claim that I'm black and that's it. And I'm like, I've been pulled over by police, not say a word, and they'll mark down on a ticket, black.
Exactly.
I didn't tell them to do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't speak. I just was like,
Exactly.
yes, sir. Registration's in the glove compartment. Can I reach that? And that's the most I did. And they wrote down black. So I'm like, so they see that I'm mixed with black and that I am black. So I'm like,
it's so interesting that you say that, because I was never viewed as my other things. It was always like, oh, you're the black girl, but you're not really black. But you're the black.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. I've noticed though that black women will get a little bit more than, kind of get their blackness questioned a little bit more than black men would.
Why
mixed
is that?
black women than mixed black men.
I mean, I understand.
Because of the beauty standards.
No, I understand
I think
that.
so. I think
do.
that's why.
But at the same time, it's like, I mean, even talking to Treasure, who is Latina and black, but is, like darker skin.
And Lebanese, I think.
Lebanese,
Yeah, but the darker
skin,
browner.
has coarser hair.
Yeah, thicker, curly hair.
Like, she and I have never had any type of beef or whatever like that, and she's very open about talking about this. But like, oh shit, I just had a brain fart, and I had a really good point, and I'm so
Right, I was ready for it too. I'm sitting here like, look up the ceiling.
Wait. Backtrack. Help me backtrack.
Yeah. So, talking about this with Treasure, who is Latina, black, Lebanese, darker skin.
But like, thank you. Some of the stuff she'll talk about and the struggles that she talked about, I'm like, I went through that too. So I'm like, is there really a difference, or is it? I mean, the ignorance seems really strong, no matter what happens. I'm like, I'm not saying that her experience and my experience are the same.
No, right.
Absolutely
of course.
not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
But
and I will never claim that. But there's still a lot of strong similarities between the two. And I never understood why we couldn't like reunite or like unite in that. I'm like, yes, respect the fact that her experience and my experience are very different. But at the same time, those similarities are something that we can talk about. And
right.
You know, it's like, oh, you're not so different than me. Right.
I think.
But I feel like it's so much harder for women, and I don't know why.
Because again, when beauty standards are favored towards Eurocentric people, and then so when a mixed woman is of lighter skin or their features are a little bit more like, because I mean, you could argue that maybe like she might have a more Eurocentric nose than you. Yeah. Or yeah, you know what I mean? But she has more Afrocentric lips than you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, with mixed people, so it's just like, but with beauty standards being a thing, and that's more of a target towards women, that's when things get more questions. Like I've seen on YouTube, I remember, right now the natural hair movement's the thing, right? Which is beautiful and gorgeous. I love it. And I remember I saw a mixed chick, or no. I'm sorry. Funny to tie Treasure back into this. Oh, a girl had.
We're talking about it like she's not 5 feet away from us right now.
Right. Well, I think she. I don't even know. But yeah, she is. So a black girl had a YouTube video, a full black girl, had a YouTube video talking about the natural hair movement, but that someone like you and Treasure are not involved in that natural hair movement.
Really?
Yeah, because you guys didn't really need to get the press, the perms, and the weaves growing up and stuff like that, right? So this is to celebrate more so the 4C type hair and the more coarser hair is what they were trying to say, but they used Treasure's picture as the image for the doesn't even know her and use her image as like the cover art in a way.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like it really interesting. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and it's unfortunate because of the Eurocentric and European beauty standards or the Western beauty standards, how that could cause a divide. It's been unfortunate, but at the same time, though, I will say this is the most united we've ever been.
Absolutely.
And
I believe that.
I love seeing that.
Yeah.
And we're just in a time where we can have space to talk about certain things and past traumas and the generation stuff before us, and also the issues that are still lingering on today. That's why I love having this conversation. Like, having this conversation is not to, like, condemn anything. These are great safe spaces for us to talk about our experience, but at the same time, this is the most united we've ever been, and I love seeing it. I definitely love seeing it.
And I think, like, I don't know, the first time I met you and Treasure, especially you, I was like, I've never met another mixed person just as mixed as me and who has the same problems. And it's like, but it's interesting that we're all from different facets of life and like have different mixes and stuff like that. We both have different, all of us have different complexions and things like that. But like, we can still talk about it at the end of the day. I've never had that ever.
Yeah, when you find like like your tribe or in your community and stuff, it becomes a bit of a relief, right? And then also you just start learning more from one another. And
like, honestly, ever since I met you guys, I'm like, oh, I don't have to overcompensate anymore.
Right. Yeah, so funny. Like, I've had friends like whether mixed or not though, really kind of overcompensate with how they act just to kind of like fit in a circle and stuff like that, but that's that middle school, high school area. That's how it is. You're trying to figure that out. You ever see that movie 8th Grade? Such a good movie.
So good.
So that would be the black version, or the mixed version of that would be like you seeing someone like at home, like watching Friends and be like, haha, yeah, but then get to school and be like, yo, what up? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll be real though, like for me, I was like, I just naturally was like just ratchet.
You grew up in that
we were
type
just
of
more,
thing.
No, but like you,
when I do it,
were in that.
Like, sometimes
it don't even sound right.
I hear like even saying like nigga, I'm like, ooh. Sometimes
I
like cringe. I'm like,
this sounds weird.
This sounds weird coming on.
Me, that's second nature. I say that every other word, and I'll address this now for anybody who is not black. Yes, I can say, and no, you can't. All right, and why? Is because we've turned a derogatory term for each other to use.
Yeah.
And there's a history behind it. It wasn't a word that was used to tie you down.
Right.
So when anybody else uses that is reminiscence or triggering of, oh, you're using that to
but,
you know what I'm saying? But for me and my friend, because I also like Matt, Matt.
Yeah.
He doesn't like using it because he views it as like it's a derogatory term that disrespect our ancestors.
My dad never my dad was like, don't you ever use that. And
I also agree with that. That's also not wrong.
No.
But someone like me, Marlon Wayans, he views it the same way, where he was like, where it was this nasty word, but now we've turned it into something that's embracing for one another.
Yeah.
But we also use it in a way that's like, I've used it all types of ways, like where I'd be like, man, nah, he acting like a nigga. We know that's not in a good word, not in a good way. But that, I also tell people this. I'm like, it's like this. If you're like, you're talking to your group of friends and you're talking about how your mom made you mad, and you could say anything about your mom, but if there was like, that bitch is tripping, you'd be like, shut the fuck up. Don't talk about my mama.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the N-word is to black people.
Yes.
We could talk about that and use that, but you can't. Just like that. That's how it is. That's how it is. And I do think there's a time and place for it at times. But yeah,
Yes.
when I'm amongst my people, I freely
You let it-
use
you
it.
let it- you let
I
it fly.
freely use it. But
Yeah.
also, I was like raised around that stuff. Like that's just all my friends around, my cousins, whatever. My
Yeah.
dad used it. You feel me? Like my brothers. Like you
Yeah.
know, that's how it is.
Yeah. So it's more natural to you than it is to me.
Mm-hmm.
I still giggle to myself. I'm like, I said it.
That's funny. Yeah, for me, I like won't maybe not even realize I use it. I'm like, oh shit, did I
Exactly.
say it? My bad.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
So then, what are your opinions on giving white people nigga passes?
that's not even a real thing. That's like when I've heard
See,
that, I'm like,
I
nah.
have a ton of people that would agree with you, and they are black,
Uh-huh.
and they give their homies nigga passes.
Oh,
and
I
I'm
know.
like-
I've
and-
known
and
those
it's
guys.
Like it's like no, it's only regional. You can only say it in front of me, and I'm like,
Yeah, right.
there's so much trouble with this.
I know.
Don't, like you're
I've told
asking
people,
for a fight that's
I
like
tell
very
people,
obvious.
I'm like, and I tell people, I'm like, there is no trouble with this. You just don't let them say that. You don't let them say that at all. I've seen, who did I see? I think I was watching like, I just so happened to be on Twitter, and it was like one of these. You know how girls be like lip syncing, and
You mean the TikTok thing? Or like-
no, but something like that. You know how they like girls will try to be cute and lip song. You know, be on like
Yeah.
Instagram stories, lip singing songs and stuff. And was it what's her name? What's the Cash Me Outside girl name? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh God,
That little white girl. She's like little hood ratchet white girl.
Danny? Is it Danny? Danielle?
Something like that, yeah. Or like, yeah, Bad Barbie or something like that. I can't remember her little rap name. But what I'm saying is, I remember seeing her on this video someone posted, and she was like singing this rap song that had the N-word in it. But every time the N-word popped up, she skipped over the word. She didn't say it. She just kept, and then she'll, you know, let's just say like, you know, the verse, like, let's just say the bar was like, you know, pulling up with my nigga. She was just like, you know, then we rolling out. She was like, you know, pulling up with my, then we rolling out, right? And then someone
Okay.
was like, if this little badass white girl could censor herself
Respect
using the
it.
N-word,
Yes.
y'all can
You
do
do
the
it
same
too.
shit. I was just like, facts.
I think the most heavily that I've ever seen that actually is in the military. Military culture is very interesting. 'Cause
I
it's
can't
like-
stand military culture a lot of
I-
times. I
right.
respect the troops, but I'm talking about the culture itself.
No, the
It's
culture
really
is
racist.
wild.
It's
It's
really
wild.
racist too.
Because
I have a cousin in the military.
yeah, my boyfriend
Couple.
is a former Marine, and
Oh,
my,
okay, yeah, that's right,
both
that's
of my
right.
parents were Air Force, but even
Oh,
the
wow.
branches are very different.
Yo,
the culture's
very,
so different.
very. Marines are fucked.
Yeah.
Yo, I think
got
that's the most like fucked up ones out of everything.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're front line, right? It's like Marines and Army, then maybe Navy, then Air
Air
Force.
Force.
I think that's how you go from
Air
most
Force
fucked
is
up
the
to
most
less.
bougie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but
They get paid the best, I
no,
feel.
just a disclaimer. Like, I got very lucky with my boyfriend. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Never did.
Good. They didn't get to him.
No.
Shout out to Brandon.
Yes, but like going to base and going to these parties and things like that, I will never forget the first time I ever went to somebody's house. Very hospitable people, but it's like they take all the labels off of it, and you are one. Like, you guys are one thing. Nothing will ever divide you guys. And to
Right.
me,
You
I'm
gotta
just like,
respect
that's
that.
weird.
Right.
It's weird.
There's no separation. It's like you gotta respect it. Kind of like when police like respect the badge.
Yes.
You gotta honor the badge first.
Yeah.
Be loyal to the
And
badge.
like, I'm again the only black person there, and then I see a black person. I'm like, oh yeah, like, I made a joke like, I'm not the only one here, and then he like was weird, like some Get Out stuff was like, we're all black here. I was like, wait a second.
Shut the fuck up,
No,
you
wait a
corny
second.
ass cornball.
I was like,
Jesus.
what is happening?
Yeah.
And then later that day, they were like, some of the guys were getting hype, and like one of the dudes, very ignorant guy, super ignorant, even talking to him just made my skin crawl. But he's like one of those like, I can do anything, like rich type of white people.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I know all too well.
And he was like in real hype over something and like yelled nigga like really loud, and then made eye contact with me. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do?
Okay, no. What did the black man do that was there?
Nothing.
Bitch made
It's
fool.
normal. It's normal.
Bitch made fool. My cousin wouldn't let that slide.
No.
My cousin's in the Navy though, but my cousin wouldn't let that slide. My cousin's in is he still in Japan right now? He might be somewhere else. He be all over. You know how that goes. But that shit, I'm telling you, because I've been around that culture too before, you know, having friends been in the military or something like that, and I swear, if they were around, like if enough of us was like, oh no, we checked that right out the gate. Like even if there was a song going on and they were saying like rapping with it, saying like nigga, boy, my nigga, my motherfucking nigga. It was like, hey, what the fuck is you talking about? Turn the fucking song off right now.
Yeah.
It was like a movie, you know, like the DJ cut it off. Like, hey, don't be
Right.
saying that shit. It was
Right.
real shit. Like the thing is, you can't allow like a white person to flex their white privilege on you by literally saying nigga in front of your face and not hold them accountable.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. I'm not saying you gotta punch the dude.
No.
That would be amazing, but I'm not saying you gotta punch the dude. I'm just saying, make him uncomfortable about saying it, because he should not feel comfortable saying it.
No, and I got so mad, and I stepped outside because I was like, I'm in front of my man's peers. He works with these people. I'm not about to be like the screaming angry black girl.
Of course, you
in
don't
this
want to
party.
give that off.
So I exited stage right, but hearing my man and my friend who I brought, it was like, you can't say that. Like, that's so, like, what do you,
Yeah.
And then he literally says, I had a black girlfriend. I can say it.
That is one of the most
That is the most
used,
ignorant.
Like, my best friend's black.
It doesn't matter.
My mom's with a black guy. My stepdad's black. He raised me for 6 years. Oh, shut the fuck up, man.
It's not an excuse. I mean, my mama raised me, and the first.
So
time
your
I
man
was
said
at
something you said.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Because I was gonna say, like, whether or not you feel this, or whether or not your man's conscious or aware of this, him being with a woman of color, it is his duty to police some of that stuff.
It is.
With his whiteness. You
It
know
is.
what I mean? He has to also bring you into environments that's comfortable for both of you now.
Yeah.
Now, not that he was supposed to know that was going to happen.
And he didn't.
Because,
He didn't.
of course not. I mean, these are guys he knows. And I'm not
Right.
saying that was like he shouldn't have taken you that. No, I'm not saying that at all. It was just an unfortunate incident,
Yeah.
and that sucks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is what, fucking last year?
2 years ago.
Just 2 years. That's ridiculous. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. So, but now, and as you guys move forward, and let's just say it gets, real serious, and let's say we talk about marriage and kids now, it's like, do you want your kids to have a similar upbringing to you, or being in white suburbia?
No.
You want some more diversity, right?
Absolutely.
And this is where another self-validating thing comes for black people. Like, what's unfortunate is, like, you were in that area because that was supposed to be better for you, and it was a good area.
Yeah.
It's considered good because there's a bunch of white people and there's money over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But was it necessarily good for you and your identity? You could
No.
go to an area that's a pretty safe area, but at least has more
More
diversity.
people, exactly.
Have some Asians, Hispanics,
Yeah.
Black folk, white folk.
I
You
was
can have all
deprived.
that.
I was deprived.
You know what I'm saying? And that's unfair to the kids. Because
Absolutely.
now, like, now you start seeing people kind of having a delayed start of finding themselves in life later on. You know what I'm saying? Not that doesn't happen with people, even white people in a white area. But for me, I would never, having a daughter, I'm never going to want to, like, have my daughter and future kids I have and put them in a place where they're the only one of themselves.
Exactly.
That is, to me, that is so cruel.
Yeah.
Like, for what? And me, I got lucky, I was in areas where it was majority black, and then going into more diverse areas. And as my parents started making more money, then now we were like the Inland Empire. There's certain parts of Inland Empire. I mean, obviously there's going to be hoods everywhere, but then there's nice suburban areas out there. And us moving into an area, we were part of this like black migration, right? That went to LA early on, like in the early 90s, especially after Watts riots and all that. But like going out there, and being in certain suburban areas, in the high school that me and my baby brother graduated from, extremely diverse. There's no shortage of anything. I mean, maybe like not a lot of, I don't know. There's just a lot of everything. Extremely diverse, and that's so great, because it's like, the black kid's not gonna be alone. The Muslim kid's not gonna be alone. The Asian kid, the Samoan kid, they're not gonna be alone. You know what I mean? And I think that's so important.
It's so important.
Because now, your kid could be friends with someone else and then go to their house and experience
All
more
types of
culture,
stuff.
and then they can also make friends with this Vietnamese kid and try their culture out, like, and they just have, so then when they go out into the world, they're not these dickheads that yell out the word nigga at a party. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like they could be very conscious of other people's culture and be more, they'll be a little bit more sensitive versus the other person who was just around themselves.
Right.
Guarantee these all white schools, if there's like two black kids there, them white kids are saying nigga, them white kids are making racial jokes and not being held accountable, and it's funny to them. So then when they're graduating, moving forward in life, they make some judgment calls that
Yeah.
aren't too. And I mean, it's not completely their fault because they don't know any better and they're ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna be held accountable in some ways. They might be held accountable that's painful to them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like that stuff is. It's just not beneficial for anybody to go to a one race school.
Yeah,
at
I
all.
agree.
At
I
all.
agree.
So
And at home, I got really lucky, but like, you know, being out in the world, I'm just like, oh, I don't really see. I would see parts of myself, but it was very few and far between.
yeah, I mean, for me, see, and you know, it's interesting. So for me, even though I'm mixed, like you know, I was with the black kids, you know, because I mean, the biggest mix I have in me is black, right? So I identify with the most, and I saw my dad's side, the black American side, I saw my black side of the family way more than my mom's family that was in Panama. And even though a lot of them are even black, but there's a lot of mixture in her family. She has a huge family. My mom's dad was a whore. He had like 9 baby mamas. Yeah, my mom was like one of like 18 or something like that. The oldest as well.
Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I have cousins I've never even met yet. But culturally, just knowing just, you know, my whole life, my black American side, that's what I was used to. But also at the same time, I understand Spanish fluently.
Yeah.
I'm half fluent speaking it, but I, at one point when I was a kid, I was fluent as well. You know, technically, probably my first language actually. You know what I mean? But the other Hispanics, like the Mexican kids in California, they weren't just like running to hang out with me, and you know, the groups weren't necessarily. I was culturally different than them. They, you know, so I was with the black kids, you know, and so then I wasn't speaking Spanish to them. They didn't understand, and when I would, they were like, "Huh?" But like, you know, it was just like, so that was interesting to me, but that wasn't anything that was a negative impact to me, you know, because one, although Latino or Hispanic, you know, I'm not Mexican, but we still could have shared something, but they just weren't interested in that. And then in turn, I just stopped being interested in doing that with them either. And I was still being culturally fed because I was a part of this, a cultural Panamanian group with my mother. I had to like do these cultural dances.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
so cute.
like with my mom, like so I wore like some of the, you know, like the hat and the chancletas and everything, and I had like the bag. My mom, wore her like polleras, which is like these pearls in her hair and stuff, like nice jewelry. And we would like go to do different events, and I was going to Panamanian events and stuff like that. Going older than Darius replaced me, and he was doing that too. So getting older, I still was fed a lot of the Panamanian culture, even here in California, because there's a good amount of Panamanians in California and New York.
Right.
And so I didn't feel no shortage, and I think that's key. If you're gonna have your kid at somewhere where he's in a shortage of something of culturally, you still like on the weekends you still need to be feeding that. You know what I mean? Whatever that is. And I thought that was interesting because like growing up and hearing some of the racial slurs they would yell at me and try to say something in Spanish, then I'd bark back at them in Spanish. I'm like, oh yeah, you didn't know, huh? Because you're ignorant, stupid.
Yeah.
You know, so things like that, which in turn, actually, some of them actually end up getting cool after something like that. They were like, oh wow,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So, you know, and even right now, just like Afro Latinos is kind of like a new wave to people. Like people are really learning just about Afro Latinos, like that being a coined a term and that being a real thing. I mean, obviously that's been a thing forever, but I'm just saying like now there's a lot of more awareness of black people speaking Spanish, or you know, Haitians, you know, they could, you know, speaking French or whatever. Just like black people aren't just from Africa and aren't just in America, like North America, you know. So that being a thing has been it's been kind of cool and interesting. I love that on Insecure they allowed me. My character was originally supposed to be half black and half Mexican,
Right.
and then I was able to be like, well, I'm
you,
already Panamanian.
Right. And didn't you have like you had mixed parents on the show, didn't you?
Yeah. So my mother was black on the show.
Right.
Played by the lovely Angela Gibbs. And my father was Carlos Carrasco. He is Panamanian.
What?
So because I was like, yo, I would love just to keep my character black and Panamanian, and have if we can find a Panamanian as an actor. Let's give Panamanian actor an opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, like an opportunity, like Carlos Carrasco's been in the business forever. Did you ever see the movie Speed with Sandra Bullock on the bus and Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
He's in that movie.
Oh,
he's
shit.
like driving the bus after
Oh,
a while. Like he's the one driving the bus. Yeah, he's like he has a big role in the movie. Yeah. Blood In, Blood Out. He had a big role in that movie. Like he's been in the business forever. And Insecure, although it was 1 or 2 episodes, it was the first time he was able to portray Panamanian on screen.
Wow.
Yeah, in his whole career. He's been, maybe mixed black man, Puerto Rican, Dominican, but he is never Mexican, but he had never played Panamanian. Because, they're not just like writing roles specifically for Panamanians, And so I was excited to do that. And then a lot of people don't know, like my man Alon Noel, he plays Daniel on Insecure. He's Panamanian as well.
Shut up.
And we look very different, right? He's dark complected, looks different, but he's Panamanian. And that's why this is what we're trying to educate people, like, this is how it is. It's like anywhere else in the world. We just all look different. It's all shades of black folk down there. And it's a lot of black folk down there. People, I think when they're expecting to see like Latino, Hispanic, they thinking they're going to see J-Lo all the time. Like that's the only form of Hispanic that could be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, Enrique Iglesias, but like,
oh God,
we out here looking like Rick Ross down there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of us, I thought I saw Kobe Bryant when I was in Panama one time. I was like, is that Kobe? Oh no, it's just and he didn't speak a lick of English, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and a lot of people like, so there's a direct pipeline from Jamaica to Panama. Yeah. So Colon is a place in Panama where a lot of, especially it's heavily populated with black folks, and they speak Spanish kind of with a Jamaican accent. Because they came from Jamaica.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of black people. So like it's kind of like they mix in patois and Spanish together, and they have like they speak it with a Jamaican accent and stuff like that, which is a lot of like I have family members there too. It's there's a lot more that we don't know, that we're not exposed to. You know what I mean? But yeah, so it's like explaining some of this stuff sometimes can be difficult for people to understand.
Yeah.
But
Well, going off of that is like I wanted you to talk about your stand up that you did at UCB for the
Latinx night.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was the coolest thing because I was like, I know you to be Panamanian and black and all these cool things, but I'm just like, I was really interested to see how heavily Latino, got it right this time, hey, crowd was going to receive you. Because I'm not going to lie, like as a mixed person, I was like, ooh, I don't know.
We'll see if they'll like, you're right. No, rightfully so.
So do you want to like talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
that was the coolest thing.
You know what? It's funny because, I get like my mom and other people who don't understand how the business works, obviously. When like people come up to you like, oh, you should do this. It's like, yeah, that's cute. I hope so.
I hope so. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope I can audition for it and book it.
Do you want to make that for me?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I should do that. I agree with you. It's not how it works. I can't snap my finger. You're right. I'm an actor.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go make that happen and go act in it. Like, nah, that's not how it works. So people are always like, oh, you should like, hopefully, you do more Latino work. You're not just black. You're also Latino. I'm like, I know that.
Yeah.
But the business doesn't. Like, they're like, so I'm like. Doing that, they reached out to me and they knew about my Latino roots. You know what I'm saying? So they reached out to me and I was glad because I'm like, I don't get opportunities. Like, I was supposed to go out for the Stars. I won't say the name of the show. Everybody, how about that? A show.
Bleep.
And they, you know what? No, La Vida. So on Stars Network, I remember my manager submitted me to go in for that, but they're like, oh no, we want like, we're looking for like Latinos, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and he's like, he's Latino. And he's like, yeah, but like, he's like, he's Panamanian. Like, so it's just like, in their mind, it's like, just say you wanted a Euro Latino, like, just say, you didn't want Afro-Latinos. Just say you didn't want black folks who are Latino. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Just say that because that's what you're saying to me. Like, you're not saying, like, oh, but we want, like, like Latinos, like Hispanics, like real.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean real? Because my mother was born in Darien, Panama, in the jungles. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, literally the jungles of Panama. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you're not going to deny my mother, it within me. To say that, I'm not Latino enough because I am thoroughly Latino enough. Yes. I'm very Latino, you know what I'm saying? But, they're not educated on their side, you know what I'm saying? As white casting directors, not going to really know. But, so doing that, getting reached out by Latinx Night at UCB, which was amazing amazing time, amazing show. It was so fun.
You were very well received.
Yeah, they and I mean,
Yes,
that was
it's because
great.
you're handsome. And
No,
whatever,
not even that though.
No, but I remember somebody being like, ah, and I was
All
like,
right,
and
yeah.
me and George were like, calm down.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I mean, being able to exercise material for all types of people was very fun for me because I'm like, let me tap into everything about
That'd be
me.
so empowering too, and some of
Oh,
the jokes
absolutely.
that you made about your family, and I'm like,
yeah, because I had a, I started it off, joking with, about my mom and like, if you're Latino, you know about the infamous chancleta, and that's in the Latino culture, like Hispanics are, like especially Hispanic mothers and abuelitas, and grandmas are very known for just grabbing the sandal off their foot and throwing it at you, like, you know what I'm saying? When I'm telling you, when I tell you they're like the Tom Brady, they're like accurate as fuck with that shit. They don't miss. I'm telling you. So like, so I got to touch on that, and having a crowd full of Latinos laugh because they can relate to that was beautiful, because we all have this same experience with that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I was able to just go into other material that's neutral, has nothing to do with race, you know what I mean? And then you could go into some stuff that's specifically for black, and there's going to be
so cool, the fact that you could do that. And
it was fun. Yeah, being like a chameleon up there in a way. It was
Exactly.
very, very empowering, like you said.
Yeah.
And just motivated me to do more of that. I can't wait to do more of that, and I think I will. I think they'll want me back at some point. But yeah, it was.
But do you take any of that and like do you put it in your work now? Like, do you put it in your character for like games people play, or like I know that you've been in multiple writers' rooms for things.
Yeah. So now getting to a point in my career where I like to be creatively involved and have some things. So like games people play. Not necessarily that character. Didn't really call for it. I think I'm just portraying more so a guy who is culturally black and down the line has like a mixture. Maybe is this his grandma or great grandmother who is, European or something, or whatever else he's mixed with.
Right.
But predominantly just known as a black man. Yeah.
Which I think is cool in itself.
I'm about to say, which is also fun to have the opportunity for me to just tap into that and just focus that on my black side. You know what I mean? And then being in something like Insecure, where I can be Afro-Latino, or like black and Latino. You know what I mean? I should say, black and Latino. Because Afro-Latino is like, it's like kind of all in one. We'll explain that a whole nother time. Yeah, so like, and then being on a show like, I'm on Good Trouble, right, which is on Freeform, and catch it on Hulu as well.
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Just recurring, you know what I'm saying? But we met my parents, and then my dad is Black American on there, and then my mother is like Afro-Latina. So she like reads very much like mainly mixed with black, but a little something in her. You can see, she had the big curly hair. Her features a little, but like, and it's not something that we touch on, but visually seeing that, and when we see, we're tripping right now. I'm sorry, y'all. So we had an episode where we met my family, and Gabby herself played my sister.
I literally thought that I was not supposed to say anything, which is why I was over here like
fine.
grinning. Like,
no,
I was like, don't
it's
say
fine.
It,
I was tripping. I was tripping. I was full on tripping. No, you're good. So if you guys are friends or fans of Gabby, then you obviously know how she looks like. So having someone like her, and me and her could pull off like we're literally brother and sister, right? And then we had two other siblings where one reads a little bit more like Afro Latino, and one that reads more black, right? Yes. Because in a mixed family, you never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly.
I mean. Me and my siblings read like that, but like, so it was beautiful. It's so funny how we just like, I was just thinking, because I was just specifically focused on the parents, and then when I thought about my siblings, I'm like,
oh yeah,
you played my sister on there,
right.
and that's also a great thing about like being in these spaces, and because when you're creatively a little bit more involved, then we can be like, hey Gabby, yo, like, are you free to do this? And I was
so
like,
dope, and like watching the episodes, like seeing healthy black love portrayed, and then you having a loving, involved, healthy family dynamic.
Oh man,
that's the first time I've ever seen that.
And you know what? It's that was like they were championing that. Like, they want to champion that because they were like, it's big to see where Isaac comes from, because also on top of that, Malika doesn't come from that.
Exactly.
You're not going to try to have all your black characters come from broken homes. That's just not reality. We don't want to portray ourselves like that. We don't want to give that image. So Malika and her brother came from, broken home, foster care system. You know what I'm saying? One being a little bit more kind to the other than the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit more harsher on black boys.
Yes.
So him not getting adopted, he's just gonna be in a group home forever. Where one getting adopted, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And then her meeting her love interest, Isaac Hall, who I portray, and then coming from a happy family, and then you see how close, like, just even when they're letting us play and improvise, and like the closeness of us, you know, and having like the big brother little sister dynamic, making fun of you and joking you, but what about that time, blah blah blah. And then all of us joking with each other, just that family unit. It felt so good to be, even like in the scene, it felt very, I got a similar feeling like how I feel when I'm having family time with my family. And I get like that warm feeling. Right. I was just so happy to be like, I'm loving portraying this. And that, we it's like we're not really touching on race. We know we're mainly black, but it's just like there's so many different shades and strokes of black and stuff, and I just love that.
Exactly. It wasn't like here's a
right. We're gonna talk about exactly.
It was this is just a family.
Exactly, and we didn't have to like force any tough narrative on it. We didn't have to force anything, and it's just it is what it is, just like any other show. And I think I love the time that we're in right now when we bring it back to the film business, just showing like you could watch a show like Snowfall, phenomenal show, set in a stereotypical setting for black people, right? That we've seen, in the hood, drug dealing and all that, but it's done authentically. Damson Idris does an amazing job with the leading role on there. John Singleton, R.I.P., produced and created that. And it's a phenomenal show. It's in its third season. And then you could have a show like Insecure, where Issa Rae's this character that, honestly, if you take out anything that when they talk about being black, is usually portrayed by a white person. Very Larry David quirkiness, you know what I'm saying? Like very quirky, kind of nerdy in a way. She loves Spider-Man. She's like, whatever. Her character is just like, struggling and everything but like, all this and awkward about things, you know what I mean? And to see that type of person, which is extremely different from any character in the world of Snowfall. And then you have someone like Malika on Good Trouble. You know what I'm saying? Just all these different types of people. Yeah. And this, we're improving. I'm not gonna say this is the best times. The best times are ahead of us. Exactly. But they're starting to see that, because I've recently learning this is like the black economy, the black dollar is 11th in the world.
Shut up.
11th in the world. Wow. So, marketing, film business, music, whatever. See that, which is why you're starting to see a lot of geared towards. That's actually pretty interesting that you say that, because the whole Marvel stuff just came out for Comic-Con, and half of them are black leads. Because they know, like, and especially because if you put us on screen, we gonna be there, and we make a spectacle of it. We do. You remember when Black Panther came out? All the people were like, this is how I'm gonna be at Black Panther, and everyone wearing their African garbs, had like the pictures of Coming to America, like this is how I'm gonna be at. And we all, and just like I just seen it right now for shout out to Mahershala Ali, that's my man's right there, playing Blade. I seen like on Twitter people like how I'm pulling up to see Blade, and it was like they're like on this leather tight stuff, and I'm like, but. And they also see the influence of black social media. We will make things go viral, or we will get you canceled and fired from your job just like that if you do some dumb shit. Yeah. We are quick. We're like, so someone, they see some racist stuff. And I've seen black people ride for other people, like, like an Hispanic lady being attacked. Yeah. And I see a black person tweet and be like, this is where this lady works. This is the number to that place. Yep. This is where they live, or this is where the office is. And then you see people calling and you leaving 1-star Yelp reviews, and next thing you know, that person's fired and ruins their life, all because you wanted to call police on a little girl selling water. You know what I'm saying? Or black people barbecuing and picnicking. Right. All these people's lives get ruined because it's like, this is a very powerful culture and community. Yeah, exactly. Every culture is powerful, but this one is one of the most influential ones. And I say this, I'm like, why I say black, why it's the most like influential. I'm as far as pop culture wise. There's a Korean hip hop scene. Yeah. that doesn't exist without black people. I see tutorials, Asian people. There's a lot of Asian people on YouTube doing tutorials on how to make their hair more coarse to give themselves braids and dreads. Swear to God.
I literally
look it up, y'all.
I saw an Asian dude with like braids the other day.
Oh
and I was
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. They look good. I ain't gonna lie, but at the same time, come on now.
yeah. I was like, okay.
I saw a straight up Asian dude who barely spoke English, rocking full on coarse dreads.
Damn.
I'm like, who the fuck did your hair, Future? Like, yo, straight up. I'm just like, yo, that's crazy. So I'm like, when I see that, and then I see, I've seen like white folks on the cover of magazine or like these H&M models and stuff with these white girls with braids. Now it's not ghetto no more. Now it's chic.
Right.
It's fashion. But when Allen Iverson came to NBA wearing tattoos and having braids, it was ghetto. It was thug. He was a thug.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So anytime they try to come in and take a bash, steal it, gentrify it, whatever like that, then now all of a sudden it's acceptable, it's chic and stuff like that. Black people, it's been that since the beginning of time.
Yep, exactly.
Beginning of time. You know what I'm saying? All these inventions, I mean, like I tell people, I'm like, we're 13% of the nation.
Yep.
Within that 13%, probably has grown, obviously, since whatever, but I mean, the stove, air conditioning, you know what I'm saying? The cell phone. Street light, peanut butter, as simple as that. You know what I'm saying?
Like peanut butter,
hello. Like all that stuff. I mean, black people inventing that and stuff like that. It's just like we could go pound for pound. You know what I mean? It's just like black folks are magical.
It's so funny to me with this whole politics stuff. I mean, like Republicans being so like make America great again. And I'm like, dude, you realize like people of color and minorities built America, like. And
I'm like, what time are you referring to? Because this is the best time for minorities to strive and go after things. So what era, what years are you talking about when you say make America great again? Because I'm like, I would say honestly, up until 2010, like it was choppy roads. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Thank you guys for ending segregation in the Jim Crow era. You guys are kind folks for that. Applause. Thank you for not hanging us for being black anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, but what era are you referring to? Yeah. I just don't understand when they say make America great again. I'm like, if you would have just said, let's make America better, I would have been like, okay, well, maybe if you include us. But make America great again was for sure. I was like, that is so racist. Like as soon as I heard that slogan, I was like, that is racist as hell. The hat looks racist as fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
It just looks like what a racist person would wear. And I always tell people, I'm like, look, I said I'm not one to judge. Like if you're a Republican, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I like, you know what I mean? Like I don't just right away write somebody off. I know a couple black people that are Republicans that I'm friends with, whatever. And I just think about certain things like it's about how, and not to get too political, but it's just how someone carries themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, let's just take away the politics. Let's just take away all the politics that motherfucker believes in. Just how does he carry himself? And I mean, he doesn't have a positive track record. No. I'm just not like, and I seen on Twitter the other day, like you saw what happened with A$AP Rocky in Sweden?
Yes.
Like, so seeing that, and he's like,
we got to free.
Tweets, just talk to my good friend Kanye West, we're going to free him, and we'll see what we can do. It's just like, and then I see people like, wow, you're doing a bad job of being a racist, President Trump. Like, these people that support him, I'm like, that's like saying, it's like, yo, like, I know I have a lot of like, prejudice lawsuits against me, hundreds, but freeing one black person ends all that. Like, right? You should do that, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, you want to apply? Like, it's just like, yeah. Man. I always think about the time when he was like, "Would you look at that? Would you look at my African American friend over there? Isn't he great?" I'm like, I cringed. I was like, "You're trying so hard." I wish it's probably Ben Carson, but I know. All right.
Different podcast.
Different podcast. Enough of all that. Fuck Bill O'Reilly. Anyway. All right.
Oh my God. Some of the stuff I learned about Mr. Bill O'Reilly. I was like, boy.
Man, out there beating his wife, judging people. I was like, whoa. Anyways, all right. In front of his kid. But whatever. Who cares? We're not talking about that.
Anyways. So, going back, do you have like any like funny like family stories that you want to share for the fellow mixed people of color or people of color in general? and like having that blended family dynamic going
Right.
in, and just like something like maybe homey you want to share?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I have an interesting family dynamic. You
Dig
know,
it.
I have a father from Philadelphia, Philly man, thoroughly through and through, full East Coast man. He's East Coast all day. Shout out
He's
to
scary too. I met your dad. I was like, ooh.
huge. He's like 6'7", 300+ pounds for y'all
Yeah.
that don't to have an idea.
Scurry.
Yeah, bigger than Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Avery James.
Yeah.
But he is black and German.
Yeah.
Mother was born in Germany.
So you have
My
white
grand
grandparents.
one
One white grandparent.
my grandmother she's honestly that's the only white family member I've ever seen in my family. It's like her and her sister. I've met her Aunt Elyse, who is hilarious. But so my grandma, and then my granddaddy is a country Alabama black man. Country as hell. And my mother is black, Native American, and has European in her as well. Her dad is mainly black, even though he denies it, but he is. His name's Leroy.
Oh.
I hope he remembers his name is Leroy.
Yeah.
And her mom is has African in her, but also a Native American. Has a lot of Native American in her. Very dark complected women.
Okay.
Dark complected women. But so seeing that them two coming from very different sides of the world,
Yeah.
even, and being brought up differently is very interesting.
Right.
My dad's very pro-black and probably consider themselves a Democrat. My mom is a Republican.
Really?
Yeah, supports Trump and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting. It's very interesting. So they don't agree at all in politics.
Right.
Yeah. And that dynamic has been interesting, right? Because also it just shows that people of color aren't just one stroke. Doesn't mean they're all going to be Democrats.
Right.
It's not true. And they shouldn't have to be. There's no uniform way of thinking. But to see the debates, and they always turn into arguments, that's just interesting. That dynamic, I would say, is the most interesting dynamic in my family, just because I'm like, yo, it's just polar opposites. I don't even know how they ended up together. I don't know why they're together, but they like
You're right.
polar opposites. My siblings, like my oldest brother, very chill, and my baby brother is as passionate as my dad. He's similar to my dad, very passionate about his sports and everything he does, anything he does. You know? Everybody pretty much aligns with a lot of the beliefs. My mom's the only one that is different.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like she tries to force her view sometimes on us. I'm just like, yeah, it's just not. You're not gonna get me to cross that line. You should have tried this when I was 7 years old. Maybe
So
you
there was
caught
like
me early.
there's like 4 of you at the dinner table, and then like just her.
Oh yeah, and then my sister, which I think honestly is worst of all, rides that neutral line. Like, you know, she's just always on the fence.
Yeah.
I'm just like, shut the fuck up, because it's like you're so scared to like you know, really
Test that
talk
boundary.
about But I mean, but I mean, no, my sister's very like a strong-headed woman. You know what I mean? Fun fact: she was on America's Next Top Model the very first season.
Shut up! Are you
Yeah,
kidding?
the very first season.
Wow.
Yeah, she was
dope.
out of 10 girls. She literally went exactly halfway through. Like she was the 5th or 6th one eliminated.
Wow.
She went far. She went pretty good. She did pretty good. Yeah. The very first inaugural season of America's Next Top Model. So like the family's like a little different, diverse. My mom's like in the medical field and stuff. My dad's a correctional officer is just like all over it.
You are all over the goddamn spectrum.
Yeah,
Jesus
I just
Christ.
like there's that's why I have so many perspectives on things.
Yeah.
Being around their each respective environments, I was able to learn so much.
Yeah.
And then like my dad, he for a while, like he in his career, he's just so happened to just befriend a lot of Hispanic men. Like a lot of Hispanic men, a couple brothers and stuff like that. He like now that he's retired, like his closest friends, like he hangs out with these 2 brothers and stuff. Dave Hill, he used to play in the NFL for the Lions and Rams. And his man Eric Jones, man, they're both really good individuals. And those are his folks. But like when he was working, his best friends are all Hispanic men. And my mom Panamanian people. My mom kind of sticks her on and stuff, and they're all of shades. All look like her, darker, lighter, so cool. All types of people.
See, that's the one thing that I wish people understood about mixed people is like we grew up in like heavily different cultures.
Yeah,
and it's like we're able to see things from different perspectives, which I think really helps in art.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it allows me to. I'm not really thrown off by anything that comes my way. I'm not like, dang, how do I figure this out? Unless, like, obviously I got to be, like, some specialized scientist, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be words there. I didn't study that, but, regardless, when it comes to anything culturally, I'm like, oh, I got this, you know what I mean? And, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it's, and it's so crazy, with mixed folks, like, you have some people that lean one way more than the other.
Yeah.
You could, a lot of times, argue that I leaned more so culturally to my black side a lot of times. It's just, like, what I was around more.
Yeah.
You were around more, and you're in white suburbia, so you knew that more. So you know what I mean. And then there's some people that literally were just are on the line. They just are very new, and that's my baby brother. He's really good at. He slides into any environment very well. His if you look at his core group of best friends, you got Ivan. He's a brother. I think he might be black and Hispanic mix as well. But Ivan Williams. There's his friends Brandon and Brandon's little brother Blake. They're Hispanic, Argentinian, and Mexican, I believe. Those two. I want to say they're those two mix. And then his boy Steven, who is white and Filipino. So this is just a mixed group of friends here, just a very mixed group of friends, and obviously he has friends outside of that main group, but that's his main core group of friends. And so he's the type of guy, he gonna be this week, tomorrow, matter of fact, me and my big brother fly to New York. My baby brother's gonna meet us out there on the weekend. We're gonna be in Brooklyn at Everyday People, bliggity black ass event, fun as hell. We love it. He's going to be there, have the time of his life. Also, 4th of July, every 4th of July, he's at Doheny Beach, South Orange County, with all the white folks wearing thong sandals on the beach, just lighting up fireworks. Probably the only brother around, and he's very comfortable in that environment as well, right? Versus me and my big brother, we wouldn't be as comfortable in that environment. I mean, we could easily do it and be fine, but that's not necessarily our preferred. Where he doesn't care. He doesn't prefer one way or another. He's just like, okay, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Okay, cool. Yeah. Whereas we're like, oh, okay, I guess. That's what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? But just Darius kind of blends in a little bit more. You know what I mean? And he has 2 cents about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And he's very smart individual. And then my sister, so she has a different father. Her father is mainly French. He's French, so she's more white than anybody.
Yeah.
So that culturally gravitates towards what that would be, so knows more about white pop culture, dates just white men, you know what I mean, just like that, just how she is. So she's more different, but she is someone who is free spirited and can connect with anybody usually. So she can be comfortable in a lot of settings as well. Maybe won't understand all the black references though.
Sure.
She won't understand a lot. Like me and my big brother, we quote movies all day. We quote videos all day, music. We do that. Me and my big oldest brother do that the most. Yeah. And Darius, Bosco's gonna, that's his nickname for y'all know. Bosco's gonna get on those references too, because like I said, he can just blend in anywhere. Yeah. 2 cents about anything. And my sister will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So I was just like, that's all right, But all 4 of us are gonna be together this weekend in New York City. I'm very excited about that. Amazing. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
All right, so do you have any parting words? Anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to share? Something weird you want to just throw in there before you go?
Nah, I mean, honestly, really happy that you're doing this. This is a space that's not necessarily tapped into. We're gonna have spaces that will be just for this or just for that. But being mixed is a very specific thing, and to hear your future guests what they have as far as experiences, I'm excited to hear. So I'm proud of you for doing that, and also excited to work more on Good Trouble with you. I can't wait for that. Also, for you and maybe your listeners, I think there's a book called "Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting with Each Other at Lunch?" I think that's what it's called.
Is it?
So, I honestly, I remember I saw it like someone reading it. Zuri, who plays Malika on Good Trouble, she was reading it, and I honestly was reading like, I read a few pages, and I remember I was like, "Whoa, this got me!" And it was like mixed kids, and about mixed kids too.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I think that would be a really good read for you and
Dang.
anybody else interested. I believe that's what it's called. If anything, I will text it to you, and then maybe you can record it.
So yeah.
Tell people at the end like he actually meant this, but I want to say it's like, why are all the black kids sitting together, or like why are all the black kids sitting together at lunch or something like that.
Ooh.
It was really good. I think you will relate to a lot of the words in there.
Yeah.
Like I was reading something, I was like, whoa. I was like, she gets me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That would be a good read. I think you'll be able to pull something from more of that and then just implement it with this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So thanks for listening, you guys, and here's to more episodes.
You're